Gender discrimination and feminization of poverty. Gender discrimination, meaning. Gender discrimination means treating someone unfairly or unequally just because of their gender. It usually affects women and girls, who are denied equal rights, opportunities, and respect in many areas such as education, employment, healthcare, property, and decision-making. In India and many other societies, gender discrimination is deeply rooted in cultural, social, and economic systems. It not only affects individual lives but also holds back the progress of families, communities, and the nation as a whole. 1. Social work for preventing gender discrimination. Social work plays a major role in reducing and preventing gender discrimination through the following ways. Awareness programs, conducting campaigns to educate people about gender equality and women's rights. Empowering women, helping women gain access to education, healthcare, and employment. Advocacy. Supporting legal changes and policies that promote equal rights for all genders. Counseling and support, providing emotional and legal support to victims of gender-based violence and discrimination. Community participation, encouraging both men and women to be part of change and challenge traditional gender roles. 2. Gender discrimination in Indian context. In India, gender discrimination is connected to many social and economic factors. Here are 3 major causes. A. Poverty. Poor families often give preference to boys in education, nutrition, and healthcare. Girls may be forced into early marriage or child labor to reduce the financial burden. Poverty limits women's access to opportunities, making them more dependent and vulnerable. B. Illiteracy. Many girls in rural or underprivileged areas drop out of school early. Lack of education keeps women unaware of their rights and opportunities. Educated women are more likely to be independent, employed, and empowered, but illiteracy holds back many. C. Patriarchal setup. Indian society is largely patriarchal, meaning men are given more power and control. Traditional beliefs often restrict women's freedom in matters like education, work, marriage, and inheritance. Patriarchy reinforces the idea that men are superior to women, which leads to discrimination in everyday life. Expression of gender disparity. Gender disparity refers to the unequal treatment or perceptions of individuals based on their gender. In many societies, especially in developing countries like India, women and girls face discrimination in various areas of life. These disparities affect their overall development and participation in society. 1. Gender disparity in employment. Women often have fewer job opportunities compared to men. Even when employed, they are commonly found in low-paying, insecure, or informal sector jobs. The gender pay gap is a major issue. Women are often paid less than men for the same work. Leadership roles and promotions are less accessible to women due to workplace bias and family responsibilities. 2. Gender disparity in education. In many areas, girls are still denied equal access to schooling. Dropout rates for girls are higher, especially at secondary and higher levels, due to child marriage, domestic work, or safety issues. Lack of sanitation facilities, transportation, and social norms restrict girls' education, especially in rural areas. Education for boys is often prioritized in poor or traditional families. 3. Gender disparity in health. Girls and women often receive less healthcare and nutrition than boys and men. Maternal health issues are common due to lack of medical care during pregnancy and childbirth. Sex-selective abortions and neglect of girl children contribute to poor health outcomes. Women's health concerns, such as reproductive and mental health, are often ignored or stigmatized. 4. Gender disparity in economic activities. Women's work, especially in the home or agriculture, is often unpaid and unrecognized. They have limited access to financial services, credit, and markets. Cultural restrictions may limit women's mobility and prevent them from participating in business or trade. Women's contribution to the economy is underestimated, leading to lower visibility in national data. 5. Gender disparity in livelihood. Women face difficulty in accessing training, land, tools, and technology needed for better livelihoods. In rural areas, women work longer hours in fields and households but earn less or nothing. They are more likely to be employed in insecure jobs, without social security or legal protection. Natural disasters, migration, and poverty affect women's livelihoods more severely than men's. 6. Gender disparity in property rights. In many families, property is inherited by sons, while daughters are left out. Even though laws exist, e.g., Hindu Succession Act, 2005, cultural and family pressure often prevent women from claiming their share. Without land or property, women have less financial security, making them dependent on male relatives. Lack of ownership affects women's ability to access credit, start businesses, or escape domestic violence. Decision-making and gender disparity. Decision-making is the process of making choices or setting directions in areas like family, education, work, health, and politics. In many societies, especially in traditional and patriarchal settings, men usually dominate decision-making, while women are excluded or given limited voice. This reflects a major form of gender disparity. 1. Removing gender disparities for better decision-making. Equal participation. When both men and women are included in decision-making, the outcomes are more balanced, inclusive, and effective. B. Empowering women. Giving women the right to participate in decisions about education, health, finances, and family planning leads to stronger families and healthier communities. C. Improved governance. Women's presence in political and leadership roles, such as in panchayats, local self-governments, brings attention to issues like education, sanitation, and child welfare. D. Breaking stereotypes. Removing gender disparities in decision-making challenges traditional norms and promotes a more equal society. E. Economic benefits. Studies show that businesses and institutions perform better when women are involved in key decisions. Social justice. Ensuring women have a say in matters that affect their lives is a basic human right and promotes dignity and equality. Feminization of poverty. Introduction. The feminization of poverty refers to the growing trend where women represent a disproportionate share of the world's poor. This term highlights that poverty affects women more severely than men due to structural inequalities in society, such as gender discrimination, unequal access to resources, and unpaid care responsibilities. Women are more likely to live in poverty, have less access to education and healthcare, and are more vulnerable to economic shocks. This trend is global and affects both developing and developed countries. Causes of feminization of poverty, UNIFEM's 4 key dimensions. According to UNIFEM, United Nations Development Fund for Women, there are 4 major dimensions that explain how poverty affects women. 1. Temporal dimension. Women spend a large amount of time on unpaid work such as household duties, caregiving, and child-rearing. This reduces the time available for paid employment, education, or skill development, keeping them in poverty cycles. 2. Spatial dimension. Women in rural and remote areas face more severe poverty due to limited access to markets, services, healthcare, and infrastructure. Urban women may also suffer, especially in slums or informal settlements, due to unsafe living conditions and insecure jobs. 3. Employment segmentation dimension. Women are often found in low-paying, informal, or insecure jobs, such as domestic work, agriculture, or small-scale vending. They are underrepresented in formal employment, leadership roles, and higher-paying sectors. 4. Valuation dimension. Women's unpaid domestic and care work is not counted or valued economically. This leads to underestimation of their contribution to the economy and denial of economic rights or social benefits. See other factors for poverty among women. 1. Discrimination. Gender-based discrimination in wages, hiring, inheritance, and property ownership keeps women economically dependent. Social norms often limit women's mobility and decision-making power. 2. Globalization and the state of the economy. Economic policies and global market changes often affect women more, jobs become unstable, and social safety nets are reduced. Women in export sectors or informal employment are more vulnerable to economic crises. 3. Lack of education. Illiteracy and lack of skills prevent women from accessing better jobs or financial services. Education also influences awareness of rights, leading to continued exploitation where education is lacking. 4. Increasing prevalence of female-headed households. Many households are now headed by women due to widowhood, migration, separation, or divorce. These families often have fewer earning members and greater dependency, making them more vulnerable to poverty. Implications of feminization of poverty. Lower quality of life for women and their children. Intergenerational poverty, as poor women cannot afford quality education and healthcare for their children. Reduced national development, as half the population is underutilized economically. Greater risk of exploitation, trafficking, and gender-based violence. Role of the United Nations in reducing feminization of poverty. Promotes gender-responsive policies through bodies like UN Women, formerly UNIFEM. Supports educational and empowerment programs for women in developing countries. Advocates for equal pay, social protection, and property rights for women globally. Encourages member states to include women's issues in national poverty reduction strategies. Supports SDG Goal 5, Gender Equality, and Goal 1, No Poverty. Manifestation of gender-based violence. The Istanbul Convention is a European treaty aimed at preventing and combating violence against women and domestic violence. It identifies 4 major types of gender-based violence. 1. Physical violence. Causing bodily harm such as beating, hitting, or torture. Most visible and common form of gender-based violence. 2. Sexual violence. Includes rape, sexual assault, forced sexual acts, and harassment. Violates bodily autonomy and often results in trauma and social stigma. 3. Psychological violence. Includes threats, humiliation, control, isolation, and emotional abuse. Causes mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and loss of self-esteem. 4. Economic violence. Restricting access to money, education, employment, or basic needs. Keeps women financially dependent and unable to escape abusive situations.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in next video.